CM Punk fans, you're going to want to hear what Phil Brooks had to say about his WWE future. In today's video, we're going to be analyzing some recent comments that really got people talking regarding CM Punk. So he exited in 2014. And then if you go back and you listen to his comments on the infamous, Colt Cabana podcast, while yes, he's bitter at the time, he was anticipating returning after WrestleMania, right? He's like, okay, I'll come back. He was actually surprised that they cut him on his wedding day. His communication with Triple H at the time was terrible, right? Triple H calling him up before his wedding day. Hey, can we talk? And Punk's like, no, I can't have a conversation right now. I'm about to go and get married. And he's like, okay. So poor communication there. Obviously, he gets fired. But he's talked about in the past, he's had talks with WWE about returning. Fox tried to get him to go back to the company before he does the whole backstage show thing. That really didn't work. Ultimately got canceled. And then he goes to AEW, and that was just an absolute, just terrible. And then he obviously returns to WWE in November of 2023. And I appreciate leading up to Mania, both Punk and Triple H being very open about how, look, it has not been all roses and sunshine between them. There's been instances, Triple H talked about how he had heard, hey, Punk does not like this creative idea or this creative direction. Might want to go talk to him. And he'd go up to Punk and go, hey, what do you think about this creative idea or this creative direction? And Punk would just BS and be like, oh, yeah, it's fine. Yeah. And Triple H is like, hey, man, you don't like this. I've heard people say you don't like this. Why don't you just say, I don't like this? I think I have a better idea. Or can we go in this direction? Or do we have a plan B? Or can we put this on hold? Can we go to somewhere else? Anything other than just pure lying and just being like, yeah, that's fine. It's like, no. Just say what you have to say. This is a creative process, right? Your ideas will work sometimes. My ideas will work sometimes. You have to trust one another. You have to trust the process, and you have to have a shared vision. So just like this lying thing, right? But CM Punk has done really, really good work since returning. Yes, his initial return, it didn't work out very well, right? He shows up at Survivor Series, big deal. A lot of kumbaya, and everyone's like, hey, man, can we get to the point here? We finally do. He gets injured, right? He's out, but he continuously feuds with Seth. He continuously feuds with Drew. He has an amazing rivalry with Drew in the summer to fall of 2024, right? He does War Games with the Bloodline, really goes deep into his feud with Seth Rollins. They wrap that up somewhat at the Raw Netflix premiere. And then obviously they do one of the best built feuds and one of the best matches at WrestleMania, the triple threat with CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. Really good stuff by all three guys. Coming out of Mania, we've seen that Punk is seemingly aligned with Roman against Seth, Braun Breaker, and Paul Heyman. So that kind of sets the scene for everything. Now, leading into WrestleMania, Punk did an interview on the Masked Man show, and he talked about his future. Okay? And was questioned about retirement from wrestling. And he said, I definitely know I can't go forever. Like the idea, and I've talked to Randy about this because, him and I, it's like, Randy's younger than me. If he is, not by much. And the mileage wise, we're dead even. It's dead heat. I talked to him and he's just like, man, I'm doing this as long as I can. I love that because he's so enthusiastic about it. It's not just a F you, I know I'm fat, I'm out of shape, and I can't do this anymore, but I'm still going to do it. You know what I mean? He's never looked better. He's never been better. I think Randy's gotten taller. And I look at him and I'm like, okay, because you do. There's obviously a stigma to the quote unquote being an old guy. You don't want to continue past your point of expiration. So yeah, sometimes I get done doing this and I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, I feel like I'm just getting started. Like I've been on this run and it's kind of washed over me where it made me, I can't even remember the specific moment where I turned to somebody, one of the Pauls, Heyman, Triple H, and I said, 46. I think I'm starting to understand this business. And that's the business. Your body's going to give up on you way before your mind does. So, to me, my mind's never been sharper. I've never been more focused. And there is life in wrestling beyond taking bumps. and being in the ring. So we'll see what happens. But I don't plan on they're trying to get me to sign a 5-year deal. I look at that and I go, I don't know, guys. He also talked about the pay scale in WWE, and he talks about how he feels like he should get paid more, that he feels like everyone in the company should get paid for. However, they're also paying them stupid money, right? And he said, at 46, I don't need the money at this point in my life. So a lot to break down there. Number one, I always find it interesting that everyone's on salaries now at a time in which WWE is just absolutely on fire. Like, I'm sure they get paid a ton of money, but if they had downside guarantees, and I'm sure Punk does to a certain degree on like merch and stuff, but not house show or not, live event gates or anything like that. They don't get that kind of money. But merch, I'm sure they do. I'm sure they get some royalties. But if you were in like the old school where it was like purely downside guarantee, hey Punk, you're gonna make 500,000 or $1 million, but your upside is X, like he'd be making way more money. But then on the flip side, you have a downturn in business, you may not be making as much compared to a guaranteed salary. So it's really just kind of a go back and forth. Regarding his future, him talking about at 46, he feels it, but he wants to keep going. I can see that. That makes a lot of sense to me. He is someone, and he talked about this in AEW, like when he returned to wrestling, he fell back in love with wrestling. I think in a lot of ways, there is some regret that he did not go back to WWE earlier, or at least back to wrestling earlier. But at the same time, it's like, well, if he did, then it wouldn't have been the perfect scenario in which he did. It would be under Vince McMahon. It wouldn't have gone, I don't think, as good as it has been. I think he was meant to be back in wrestling with Triple H in charge. I always thought the AEW run, he always felt out of place. It never fit right. It was like, why are you being here? You're a WWE guy. Like, I understand he had his indie run and his ROH run. But like, to my generation, I'm sorry, we grew up on CM Punk and WWE. I think a lot of people look at him as a WWE guy. He's made a bigger name for himself in WWE. He's won more titles in WWE. He's had more success. He's made more money in WWE. So he's very much connected to WWE. He is a WWE guy in a lot of ways. So I think that's interesting to note. That's something to keep in mind as well. But yeah, that was CM Punk's, comments. What they do with him going forward, I assume they're going to do the tag team match at Backlash, but we don't know. We don't know. It'll be interesting. Let me know in the comments there below what you guys have to say.